Hi, and welcome to VetNet. My name is Elvis Savdic, and I work at the IBMF as post-program support advisor. I'm helping our IBMF program graduates with starting or growing their business or careers. And as you know, today is the National Veteran Small Business Week that is recognized by U.S. Small Business Administrations and other big organizations. And today with us, we have gathered 4 of our IBMF program panelists who will share their business tips, share their experience, insights, and things that did work for them or did not work for them as they start and grow their businesses. We also, in addition, have with us our IBMF alumni program manager, Ashley. She will be taking the questions as you guys will be asking through our YouTube channel. So if you do have questions, because this will be a webinar, there's a Q&A dialogue style, and we encourage you to ask questions for our entrepreneurs here. And before we start, I'm gonna just make sure we go over some ground rules. I would like to ask politely for all of our panelists, if they're not speaking, to mute their mics so we don't have any echoes in the back room. So that being said, I'm gonna, pass it down for our panelists to introduce themselves and tell a little bit about their business and what they do. Who would like to start, guys? How about you, Nicole?
Sure, I'll go first. My name is Nicole Hempel. I am a Navy veteran, and I'm located in La Jolla, California, which is part of San Diego County. I have a law firm that focuses on comprehensive estate planning and veterans benefits. I've been a lawyer now 5 years, and I've had my law practice 4.5.
Thank you, Nicole. Do you tell us a little bit about what your business is and what do you do?
Oh, okay. Well, I do comprehensive estate planning, which I help people create their wills, their trusts, estate plans, whether for their particular situation, essentially ways to reduce taxes, eliminate court procedures, whether it's through needing of conservatorships or guardianships, probates, estate administration, and then I also help veteran benefits as far as VA disability compensation appeals. So that's really kind of what I focus on for my practice. I practice law, so I don't know what more to say about that.
Thank you, Nicole. Kathleen?
Hi, everybody. My name is Kathleen Ford. I'm the CEO of SC Datacom, which is a security integration company based in Savannah, Georgia. We've been in business since 2013. I retired from the Army in 2012, and then we started this company. So we install security systems, which are CCTV camera systems, access controls, fire alarms, etc., for commercial customers, and we also do federal work. I'm actually sitting in the VA in New York right now looking at a job that we just received an award on. So we travel throughout the US doing security installs.
Thank you, Kathleen. Bobby?
Hi, I'm Bobby Hurley Gwynn. I am co-owner and founder of ARPCO Valves and Controls. I am also CEO, and I am one of 6% of women in the oil field. There's only 6% of CEO positions in the oil field are a woman. I guess that's not the correct way to say it. Anyway, we keep wells from blowing up. We monitor the pressure on oil and gas wells. We have a location in Kilgore, Texas, and a location in Midland, Texas. I'm a former spouse of an Army veteran, and I was a caregiver for 10 years.
Thank you, Bobby. Bennett? Could you unmute yourself, Bennett, please?
There we go. My name's Bennett Tanton. I am the co-founder, co-owner, and vice president of a company called Battlesite Technologies. I am a Marine Corps and Army veteran. And Battlesite Technologies, basically the main product that we're focusing on now is a chemiluminescent writing device. And the best way to describe it is it's a chem light that you can write with on a wall, on anything. And we're basically bringing a couple different technologies to bear to help warfighters, law enforcement, and first responders in their spaces to help them do their work safer and more efficiently. I have a lot of other things going on, but that's basically where I'm at right now in my main venture.
Thank you, guys. That's very great introduction. So I'm gonna probably ask a couple of questions and we'll go from there. And as we wanna establish as more dialogue and interaction as possible. So as most of you know, we have a lot of veterans and military spouses who are in the beginning stages of starting a business, and they're just in their idea stages, thinking about the problems and have to provide the solutions. So what would I ask, as most of you have been through our IVMF programs and been in those shoes as well. So I would ask for you, would you talk a little bit about your experience? How did you get your idea concept for your business? And if you had one piece of advice for someone starting out, what would it be?
I'll go first. So my experience with IVMF and EBV and whatnot has just been invaluable. The resources that I've gotten from there and my partner has gotten from there have just been invaluable to help us get stuff rolling. The process was kind of got thrown into our lap. The technology that we're working on right now really we fell upon it. It's a problem that needed to be fixed that we had thought about for a while, but it really, we were looking in some different places, and we were looking at the military's research laboratories. And there's so many, I guess you could say, opportunities if you look at the government and their research labs on stuff that has been developed that just needs a home to go and for somebody to run with it. That's kind of how we fell into our development of our product right now. But the biggest piece of advice, and it's a battle that we're fighting right now, is when you're first starting out, everyone thinks of a name, and this is a law question, so I want or a law thing, but be careful about the names that you choose for your products and your companies, because we're fighting a battle now on trademark infringement. And we thought that we had dotted all of our I's and crossed all our T's because I lost the company because of this years ago. So that is a huge piece of advice. Make sure that you do everything, get a good trademark attorney, copyright attorney on working for you. And even that sometimes doesn't cover everything. That's a big issue that we're having right now, and I've had in the past. This is now the second time I've run into this problem. So that's my big piece of advice off the top.
Thank you, Bennett. Who do you have next?
I'll go next.
Okay.
So I started, I was in the EBV, the inaugural class of EBVF in 2010. I was one of the first class to go through as a family. And we had bought our business about 9 months prior to that. I can honestly say, had I not been through that class and had the support from IVMF, that there is no way I would be sitting where I am today. And I got started in the business because I had been in college going for my nursing degree, and my ex-husband was injured. in Pakistan and medically retired from the Army. So we got out, we came home, and I became a full-time caregiver. And I needed something to do, so I went to work part-time for an oil field service company. And one of our coworkers passed away in a car accident. That owner decided to sell, so a coworker of mine decided to buy the company. So we didn't start it from the beginning. We bought an existing company, and then we founded ARBCO Valves and Controls. And then I was able to go to EBV, but even at that time, there were mistakes as a new business owner that I had made that EBV helped me through. And there's decisions we've made that we came from the lawyer's office today, right before I was here, because of decisions that we made back then that maybe weren't the best. So 8 years later, we're still dealing with that. So my biggest piece of advice is I don't care how small you are, get your bail team in place, get your banker, get your accountant, get your insurance agent, and get your lawyer. And it kind of goes back to what Bennett said you have to have that. You've got to have a good lawyer. I mean, it's huge. And we're trying to, ours goes back to a part of the way the ownership is laid out. We did what we thought was best 8 years ago, and now we're dealing with how to fix it 8 years later. So you've got to have that no matter how small your business is.
Thank you, Bobby.
So I'll go next, if that's all right. I want to first just address the lawyer thing, because I am the lawyer that gets the phone calls so often. And I just want to advise everybody, if you're calling to look for a free lawyer, there's probably 10 people who have made the same phone call to the same lawyer before you. And so you're starting a business. This is the time that you need to really bite the bullet and understand that you're asking for a professional service. You're not going to get it for free all the time. You need to be willing to put the money up, because as you just heard from the prior two participants, you could face legal problems down the road, and it's going to cost you a whole lot more then than if you put up the money up front. So you might bite the bullet and say, oh my gosh, that's so much money, $2,000-$3,000. I'll tell you, they'll tell you it saves you money in the long run, saves you time and hassle to get it set up and structured properly the first time. So just to piggyback off of that, and then just go into how did I start, where did I get everything. So mine's definitely a little different. I knew that I didn't really want to work for anybody else. I got out of the military, went to law school, passed the bar, went on, became a stockbroker, a financial advisor. And then as I was looking around for firms, I had all these credentials. I had a lot of debt, and they wanted to pay me less starting out than what I left the military as an E5 with. So I pretty much told myself, there's no way I'm going to let somebody dictate what I'm going to wear and what I'm going to go to work for $38,000 a year. Like, no, thank you. So I signed up for VWise. I think it was in 2014. I went in January in Long Beach. And that was really my first introduction to the who, what, where, when, how, why of a business. And I'll tell you the most invaluable piece of advice that I can give that I did for myself was I created a business plan for myself as though I was going to take it to investors. But I didn't have any investors. I have had zero business debt, and my business has only grown as I have grown in practice. So I've never taken out a loan or a credit card or anything like that. So my business plan was really to get clear on my business practices for me. So I wasn't just diving right in and then learning to swim. I kind of had some idea of how deep the pool was, what the temperature of the pool was, how long the pool was. Really, what was I getting into? And that really helped me, because I would get a lot of phone calls for free pro bono work. And as much as you want to be able to help everybody, because I had my business plan, because I knew what I was going to be doing, I could then gracefully say, unfortunately, that does not fit within my pro bono parameters. I cannot help at this time. So it gives you a clear knowledge and a path of where you want to go. And it also helps you do that market research. What are your competitors? What are they charging? What do you have to get over? And so that's that was really the huge part for me. I still refer to my business plan today, and I've never shown it to an investor yet, but it is time. And as you learn in the classes, that you have to create the business plan, update the business plan, grow with this business plan, and revise as you grow. And so now I'm getting to my 5-year mark. Changes are going to be made, and that's the time that I'll go back to my business plan and get those clear goals set out.
Thank you, Nicole. Kathleen, do you have anything?
Kind of like Bobby, I guess. I got into this business a little backdoor. Wasn't really my intent or my area of expertise. I was a nurse in the Army for 26 years, so I wasn't seeking work in that field, and just happened upon this particular opportunity, starting with a customer need that prompted starting a business to meet that need, figuring if that customer had needs, others like them had needs as well. I think one thing I learned from that, I was cautious about the business because I felt I didn't know the low voltage industry enough myself to lead others that did. So I relied on the expertise of team members and didn't have that in the field expertise myself. But what I learned over time was that what I did know contributed invaluably to the strength of my business. And that were things that I can attribute directly to my Army time and what I learned there. And for example, quality programs, policies, mission and vision, organization charts, all those things that are kind of laborious and not fun, but they provide the structure you need to move out on a plan. As Nicole mentioned, the business plan that she refers to even as a sole proprietor on a regular basis, to make sure that you have a plan and you're moving out towards that. So I think that the things that I learned from the military, I was really able to bring into the business and help me invaluably. And now in 5 years' time, I've grown my expertise in my particular field, and I am licensed as a low voltage contractor, but those things came later, and it was the leadership lessons and the how to manage people and processes that I gleaned from the military that I was really able to put to work right away. So that was helpful. And the networking skills and the, I'm an email ninja. I can communicate well through email, etc., and get my point across. And those are all things that really contribute effectively in a business of any type. I will piggyback on this whole name your business thing and say, great point. Unfortunately, you name your business before you really maybe know your strategic direction. And I'm one of those people. My company name is SC Datacom, which is kind of a stupid name, difficult email address. People don't understand what you're saying over the phone. And if I could rewind, I would not choose that name. So if there's a way to figure it out and do a market analysis early on the naming, I think the naming is very significant. It has meaning down the road, from everything from Google searching to, you know, all kinds of things. So it is a powerful thing, and I wish I had done it better.
Thank you all. We have an online question from Stefan. He's saying, I'm starting my small business providing contract training services. I'm a sole proprietor and I'm both the head cheese and sole employee. Do I still need a lawyer?
So my answer to that is, you might have a smaller lawyer bill. You actually might be able to find a lawyer that would give you some advice on how to go forward as a sole proprietor. You still have certain things that need to be filed, business licenses and things of that nature. And then again, you also have tax. How do you tax yourself? The new tax law of 2018 that has different provisions and applications for sole proprietors and corporate. I think it's the S corp election. So yes, I would recommend that you just consult with an attorney. At this point, you're the sole, so you don't have too much, but there's still some legal implications, as well as you're providing contract training services. So that's a key term in there, that you're providing contracts. Whether you're entering into a contract with somebody else or they're entering into a contract with you, make sure you have those contracts reviewed by an attorney to make sure that you're protected, your interests are protected, and also consult with them regarding what is the best type of liability insurance. Again, you can also rely on your bail team for that if you have an insurance agent. So just because you're the only cheese and the only employee, that's me. I've been my one-stop shop for 5 years, but there's still a lot that you're going to need to know.
Yeah, piggybacking off of that, I totally agree. It's one of those things that even if you do the work, you can do a lot of the work yourself. I still say that, and this is a mistake that I made, that you have to have somebody that you've got to look over it at a minimum, to look over it, fix it, because I can guarantee you that you're not going to do it right, especially if it's your first time. I mean, you might get lucky, but at the end of the day, save yourself a ton of money and a ton of headaches down the road. And just, I mean, that's one of the advantages, especially with like EBV or you know, IVMF programs in general. We're given some of that as a gift. Use it wisely. Use the free legal advice that you get wisely, or just pay it. It will save you down the road exponentially.
The thought behind the bail team is to build the relationship so that when you have a problem, you have somebody to go to. You're not just searching online for some lawyer. You want to build that relationship. So you may not need them. You may meet them one time, have a consultation, but you have someone to call. So you need to build those relationships.
Thank you, guys. So speaking of, we have another question from Kevin. Do I need a lawyer if I have a nonprofit business?
Okay, so I'll take that one again. You have to understand that a nonprofit is still a corporation. So in the context of business, yes, you have not only state and federal regulations in your corporation that you have to abide by, but now you have special tax rules that you also need to be aware of so that you can abide by them and not have your tax exempt revoked. If you're not doing your filings, if you're not acting as a corporation, then you can get yourself into a lot of trouble and you can be personally liable for things that you just didn't know about. So yes, you need a lawyer for a nonprofit. It is still a corporation, but it has a special tax provision allotted to it.
Thank you, Nicole. I know you guys touched up a lot on some of the resources that IVMF offers, but I want to ask questions because I know there's a lot of resources out there for veterans, for entrepreneurs, and things like that. So my question to you guys would be, what are some of the first resources that you utilized and took advantage of when you were starting your business?
Well, one of the biggest things, it wasn't right away, but and now I use it as a mentor and a mentee, is a resource called Veterati. It is a online veteran mentorship, you know, platform. So you can be a mentor or a mentee, or you can do both depending on your areas of expertise. And they've got veteran entrepreneurs, business folks, professor, I mean, everybody. If they've got something that they're an expert at, they're on that platform. And it's an amazing tool. They do all the heavy lifting. All you have to do is show up for phone calls with your mentors, or, you know, if you're mentoring as a mentee. And plenty of times, mentorship runs both ways. You know, there's how many times I've learned things from folks that I've been mentoring. So be open to that. But Veterati is a huge, and there's a couple other veteran platforms out there, I think, too. But Veterati is the one that I use for getting advice and things like that I need.
Thank you, Bennett. Anyone else?
At the beginning, I didn't use a lot of resources that were available to me. I didn't know they were out there. in the last probably 5 years, the EBV conferences, NatCon, I've been to all of those because that's such a huge resource to me. The relationships that I have built through those and the friends that I have that I can call when I have questions, that's been huge. I'm also in a mastermind. Some of you may know Larry Broughton. I'm in one of his masterminds, and that has been pivotal in the growth of our business. My business partner is actually in the past year has joined it with me, and the growth that we've had is just crazy this last year. I also have accountability calls, and I have 3 different ones that I do each month. One is with a group of other women business owners, one is one-on-one, and then one is through the mastermind. And each thing, we keep each other accountable for personal and for business, and it's different ideas or projects that you may have going on. And just having that and knowing that somebody's keeping me accountable for what I'm doing, that's huge to have that help.
Elvis, I just want to add, on the federal side, I've used the Georgia Tech Procurement Assistance Center, the GTPAC, and I think there's one, I believe there's one in every state, but they're experts in the federal procurement side and can really give you assistance in possibly submitting a certification application for SDVOSB or woman-owned, et cetera, but also in just reviewing bid solicitations, the language, the FARs, or questions about that. They can be a good resource for that. They've helped me quite a bit.
Thank you, Kathleen. Do you have anything to add, Nicole?
I think the best thing for me, the resources that I used when I first began, I think in VWise, I learned a little bit about WordPress. And so in business, you have 2 storefronts. You have your in-person, but in this day and age now you have your digital. So you get credibility based on your web presence and what it looks like, and also understanding Google algorithms and how are you going to come up on the first page of Google. Takes a long time, and one of it has to do with the age of your website. So even if you're just thinking and if you're just getting started, the best thing you can do is get your URL and put even a landing page up, because now you're going to start that aging process. And really, when you're your one-stop shop and everybody's, you're trying to figure it all out, and you're wearing your cheese hat. Sorry, I'm going to go to that reference. And you're wearing your HR hat and the billing hat and the actual working hat. You're going to have to know accounting and your website and everything in that. And so I used a lot of the resources just on how to create a WordPress website, and then I built off of that. And then when I went to EBVD, they had the World Report, IBIS World Reports that the librarian helped us get, and that was all about the industry. So that was incredibly helpful. I wish I had had that originally when I started my business plan, but the IBIS World Reports were invaluable, I think.
Thank you, Nicole. We have a question from an online participant, Nicole Eldridge. In building your business, when the funds are limited and you have to decide between investing in a coach or putting that money towards the business, what would be the best use of those funds?
I'll take that. I'd say 100% put it towards your business, but I am a big believer in bootstrapping, and just, you got to roll your sleeves up and do it yourself, because most of us struggle initially financially as we're starting a business, and there are a lot of third parties that want to pay to help you, want to be paid to help you. Be a consultant to help you navigate this, or a coach to help you navigate that. And unless you're in some business with phenomenal margins, I'd say you really just need to do it yourself, except the lawyer, Nicole. Pay the lawyer, do everything else yourself. That would be my advice.
Thank you, Kathleen.
So I would like to just piggyback off that and really go to Bennett, as well as if you're going between where do I use my funds, if it's a business coach, go to that website, he said, and find yourself somebody that's willing to mentor you, because that one there, you can get it for free. And you really, like Kathleen said, figure out how to bootstrap your business. What can you get for free? Another thing is, I can't tell you how many BNI groups, how many networking groups I go to, and everybody is a business coach and a life coach, and they're a CEO coach, and they're a dog coach. They're a coach. Well, what qualifies them to be a coach? Do they have a business? Is their business successful? Do they have a website? Can they coach you on how to do that? What makes them qualified to coach you through this small business? Are they just starting out? Through my 5 years, have hired one business coach, and it was actually specifically a retired attorney that was in my area of law, and I had a very complex issue that I needed to move through regarding my business, and I only hired him for a very brief period of time and felt that to be a good use of my funds. But again, I only grown my business. I've never gone into debt. So when you're coming in to invest in your business or invest in advice, everybody has an opinion. Invest in your business.
Yeah, I agree. Invest in your business for sure. And this is coming from a guy, I do coaching as well, and mentorship and stuff, but and I charge for it. But there's plenty of places to go find it for free. It might take you a touch longer, but you're gonna also get that experience by doing it yourself, especially when you're first starting out. And a lot of times that's more valuable than paying a coach to either show you the ropes. It's all fine and dandy, but again, she brought up a really good point, is that if you're going to invest in something like that, you better know that that person can deliver, because a lot of folks, they'll promise the world and they can't. They just don't deliver on what they can. So starting out, invest in your business for sure. And as a veteran, you can go find the resources. They're there. Things like Veterati and other Facebook groups on LinkedIn, they're invaluable tools, and a lot of people are willing to help you.
Thank you, Bennett. Bobby, do you have anything to add?
So do I. I'm going to go against everything everyone has said, and I'm going to say hire the coach. The difference in my business from hiring the coach as to just putting the money back into it is huge. Having a coach, and I am a business coach myself. I am one of those business coaches that I have owned my business for 8, almost 9 years. So I do know what I'm talking about. And there are coaches like that out there. Some of them aren't great. And Elvis, may I ask, can you give me the name of that, the participant that gave that question?
It's Nicole Eldridge.
Nicole, I don't know if this is you or not, but I think I may have seen your website. If you're do we know what she does? She has a very cool website, content writing, I think, maybe.
I'm not sure where we...
Maybe not, but anyway, I would go with the coach. If you can afford to do the coaching, if you're going to run a marathon, if you're a professional athlete, anything like that, they have coaches. They have more than one coach. And I am a very strong, independent woman, and I pretty much do my own thing. Coach keeps me in line and keeps me on track. And I have a bigger return on the investment in coaching in my business than if I didn't do it. I could put the money back in, and we took out a loan initially to buy the business. But any of the growth that we've had, we have done just by paying cash. We have not had to take out additional loans. So we've kept our money in the business, and I would normally say that, but I also know how much coaching has helped me, and I would suggest that.
Thank you, everybody. I definitely agree with all of you. You definitely have to identify your pros and cons, either if it's coaching or investing in the money in your business. I heard a lot of words throwing out there about networking and events. So my next question to you guys would be, how important are events and networking for you guys, and how do you decide which events to go to and spend money on?
Okay, so since I'm the little guy, different than the three big corporate ones, I think a little bit. I've done them all. Everybody says, oh, do the BNI. So you wake up, you go 7 o'clock in the morning, BNI, you're there. For me as an attorney, the referrals that I was getting were just, they were not worth my time. They were very small. They didn't play through the referrals I was getting. But that's not to say that BNI doesn't work for other groups. I went to women networking events, and what I really noticed is that if you go to these networking events, everybody's there to network for their own business, and I never made really solid contacts that I got good referral sources out of. The best places for me to network were where my interests are. So I joined the Torrey Pines Women Golf Club, and I would golf with the ladies on Tuesdays. I joined the San Diego Lions Club, and I volunteer out in the community. I get involved in nonprofits. I'm on a lot of nonprofit boards. So for me, I give back to the community a lot in very valuable ways that mean something to me, and it's close to my heart. And so they see me out there in the community as a genuine person. And I've found way more profit on doing things that I'm passionate about and doing things that I love and making genuine connections within the community.
Now for our business, it's a little, in the defense industry, there's a lot of trade shows. So we've gone to different trade shows, and for us it's invaluable because you're meeting people that are actually buyers of the products that you're selling. You're not going to just network. It's networking, but it's a little different. So trade shows for us is where it's at. I don't do a lot of networking events because I just haven't found a lot of value in them. Again, I do very much the same thing, and finding like-minded, like-hearted people and really making good connections with them, and that type of stuff, you know, whether it's other veteran entrepreneurs or just good people in the community. Really focusing, for us, it's really focusing on trade shows, and then relationship building with people within our scope versus trying to be everything to everybody. We really laser focus on people that are our end users, either end users of the product or people that buy our product. So
thank you. Anyone else?
Yeah, I'll pop in here. I'm sitting in a Starbucks and it got really noisy, but they all just left. So I agree with Nicole on the BNI. We are in 2 BNI chapters. I thought that was valuable to get us into our community, but once you make those connections and you have good community presence, I guess, there are better, more effective ways, I think, to continue those relationships. And I haven't felt that BNI really is a value add as far as growing business. So not a real big fan. As far as on the federal side, I think that Bennett talked about going to trade shows and maybe where there's purchasing decision makers for the federal government, I'm assuming he's talking about. And we've done less of that than I'd like to. I think that would probably be well worth our time to get into those markets, but we really haven't done it. And then I will put a shameless plug in for anything sponsored by IVMF. I always make time for, because I have found that the resources that they provide are just never ending, the connections and the resources. And so the reach back that I've been able to create with other attendants and the faculty and staff has been invaluable. And I've reached back several years to continue relationships as it helps each of us. So I think I always make time for those events.
Thank you, Kathleen. Bobby, anything to add?
Anything industry specific? In the energy industry, it's very male dominated. So I try to attend anything that is woman focused. I just attended a women's global leadership conference in Houston a couple of weeks ago, and that I made some great contacts there. And in our industry, we do have the trade shows also, but like Bennett said, that's a little bit different. Networking, you can grow your business. You're either a customer, you're a vendor walking through there, but the contacts that we can make, the contacts that I made in procurement and in supply chain at the conference were different, and we have that similarity in the fact that we're women in the energy industry. So those were some really good contacts, and we have HR, we have safety, we have procurement has their own conference within the energy industry. So anything that you can do specific. Personally, networking is not high on my favorite things to do, but it's a necessary evil in the business.
Thank you, guys. We had a question earlier from Catherine Turner. Her question was back to resources. Are there resources on post like military installations that you know of?
Onward to opportunity. Give IVMF a plug, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure. I never got to use any of that stuff. They didn't really have it. There wasn't. I mean, I remember an SBA rep or an SBA person would come to my last duty station, which was Fort Drum. They would come up there and help guys and gals that wanted, like, they would have like classes on like writing a business plan and things like that. But that was back in like 2003. There's probably way more now, but those are the only things that I was aware of. And I know Onward to Opportunity is a big deal on not all posts, but some posts now. So.
Thank you, Ben. That's correct. IVMF has a partnership with the SBA, and they do boost to business for military. So they probably have a near base and Onward Opportunity. We have another question from JR. He's asking if a business desires to be recognized as a veteran or disabled veteran-owned business, is there an actual path to registration? If so, can you elaborate? Thank you.
There is an actual path. It's free of charge. The Service Disabled and Veteran-Owned was previously managed by the Veterans Affairs, but I believe, and someone else maybe can confirm, that there's been recent changes to that. There's guidance from SBA and from the VA, and I believe that they're going with the SBA guidelines now for that, but the process is still administered through Veterans Affairs. But it's basically a document drill. You provide all the supporting documentation, your DD-214, your disability, if you have one, and a host of other things that show that you are a majority owner and operator of your business. There's more specifics, but they're all publicly available on the VA website. It's pretty clear. There are people that you can pay to help you through that process. And as I said previously, I'm a fan of do it yourself because it can be done. The guidelines are clear, and I would say just save your money and do it yourself. But I would encourage you to do it for sure, particularly if you're seeking any business with the federal government, because the set-asides can be a powerful tool and you earned them.
Yeah, I agree with Kathleen. Do it yourself. It's what it is, though. It's a lot of hurry up and wait. You've got to, it's just a process. So do the work, put the paperwork in, get all the things done that you have to do. And it's just a process, and stay on top of it. And it could take you a little while, but it's not difficult. It's all right there.
Thank you, guys. And speaking about veteran-owned or veteran-owned disabled, registrations as a registered as veteran-owned business or disabled veteran-owned business or women-owned business, how many of you guys have took advantage of those certifications, and how did those certifications, if helped you with your business?
I can jump on there, Elvis. We're certified as service disabled, veteran owned, and also as woman owned. Can you hear me? Yeah, okay. And the woman owned was more difficult to achieve. The burden of proof somehow was more difficult. And I've really gained zero from it as far as awards or anything in the field that we work in. There just really hasn't been much out there, but I continue to renew it every year because it's just a badge of honor that I like to have. But other than the paper it's on, it really hasn't done me anything. Service disabled, veteran owned set-asides, I find very powerful in the work we do. We do quite a bit of work with the VAs. That's where I'm sitting today. And so that has been a big differentiator for our business in competing for the type of work we do in the federal sector.
And I can piggyback on that too. Same things, service disabled, veteran owned business, and dealing with the Department of Defense mainly for us in Homeland Security. There are, it's an invaluable thing. It just gives us more visibility and more options on funding and all kinds of ways that we can do things within those organizations and things that they can offer us versus non-service disabled veteran-owned businesses.
Thank you. Anyone else? Anything to add?
Now, the only thing I would add is that it really hasn't done anything. I didn't pursue it because I didn't see the value in it for me, but I did register myself on the San Diego veteran-owned business website, and the only thing I get from that is donation requests. So I get hit up all of the time. Oh, we think that you would really interest in donating to our veteran organization, and so that's the only thing I get from being on a list of identifying myself as a veteran-owned business. Is people don't actually use that to come find me. More so, I leverage a lot of publicity, so I do good in the community. I get a lot of rewards. Articles have been written about me. That's when they recognize that I'm a veteran. That's when people will come in. So those lists, nothing for me.
Thank you. Anything? Okay, guys, so we have probably 12 minutes left of this webinar, and I would encourage everybody out there to ask your questions. But my final questions for you guys would be, what helped you get to where you are right now? And if you would have others who went, similar paths like your business, what would your advice to them be in terms of like what has worked for you, what didn't work for you as you got where you are?
I'll go. My biggest piece of advice for folks coming into entrepreneurship is don't make perfect the enemy of good. Planning is crucial, right? Business plans are crucial. Whichever way you get there, whether you're using, the nuts and bolts business plan, or find the right one for you. Find a planning tool that works for you. Whether it's nuts and bolts, 5-paragraph business plan, something along those lines. Op order, just using the op order that we used to use in the military as a framework. Because fragos are inevitable, and don't let that type of stuff derail you and keep you from executing and reaching your goals. Really, we in the military especially know that over planning can just cripple us. So it's a matter of, once you get a framework of what you need to do and where you need to go, make it happen, and then be flexible. and allow things to come at you, and you just handle them the way that you can, just like you did when you were in the military, being adaptable. Because Murphy's out there, you know, we know it. The best laid plans are going to get derailed. Just hang on to the rails and let things happen and deal with them as they come. But don't get paralyzed by that type of stuff, because we don't know everything. Find people that have the answers if you don't have the answers, and really that's all I got on that.
I think the thing that I would spend the most time on early in business is figuring out what it costs you to run your business, and whether you need professional help with that or not. But I think that was definitely a weak point for me coming from the military, where we had budgets, but let's face it, we didn't pay the bills. Somebody with very deep pockets did. So you just didn't have that acute awareness of what it costs to run a business, what the fixed and variable costs would be, what your markup should be, what you should charge your customers for service, etc. So that was a real seat of the pants experience for me, and I didn't get it right, and we've had to make adjustments over time to get it right. So our first few years in business showed a loss, and I think it was directly related to a misunderstanding of how much overhead the business could tolerate and what to charge for services. So there's a lot of different ways to attack that. The information is out there. Nicole mentioned some of those powerful tools that are out there to stack up who your competitors are, and you can find out what they're charging for services, etc. I would definitely invest some time in that work up front so that you don't go in optimistically only to be defeated by expenses that overrun your revenue.
Thank you. We have a few questions out there. You have a question from Antonio, and he says, thank you all for your time. This question is for Ms. Haffel. Currently in law school, interested in any advice you can provide for a career in law and taking advantage of any veteran and disabled vet resources.
Well, congratulations on your decision to go into law school. I have a lot of advice for law, specifically in how to get into that career. So what I'm going to offer you is give my office a call at 619-550-3080. Again, 619-550-3080, and tell my receptionist you want to get on the 15-minute call calendar, and then that way we can have a one-on-one discussion and can learn a little bit more about your goals and what you desire and what you want, and then best give you advice, personalized advice.
Thank you, Nicole. Another question is from JR. He's like, I would like to follow up by asking the panelists that do business with federal government, is there a key location to be guided through the process of certifying to compete for contracts?
Well, competing for contracts is on open solicitations is simply being registered in the system for award management, which is a very simple process. It's been a few years since I've done it, but I think it's applying for a DUNS number and a cage code and registering in SAMS, and you're done, and then you can compete on awards. There are many places to look for awards. There are subscription services that will push you awards within your NAICS codes, or there's open services like FedBizOps or FedBid, where you can find solicitations and respond to those solicitations. And I'm happy to address that further if you have specific questions offline. You can, I'm sure Elvis can share my contact information if you're interested.
Thank you, Kathleen. Bennett, anything to add?
Yeah, it's DUNS. You get a DUNS number, cage code, and register for SAMS, and then find contracts that you want. Our dealings with the government are a little different. We're looking for some research and development contracts, which are what are called SIBRs. There's some other different kinds of those as well, but it's a little bit more complex. But the resources that are there online to find it, to try and walk you through it now, it's almost impossible. But a good place to start is getting into SAM, the system for word management. That's the first crucial key for sure.
Thank you, guys. Just any final thoughts, any advice for our veteran entrepreneurs and military spouses that you might have before we end the session in 5 minutes?
Don't let fear stop you from doing what you love to do. A lot of people, fear of success, fear of failure, there's just so many fears that we allow to keep us from being great. I had an interview with a prospect yesterday, and she told me when it comes down to it, a lot of times it's the fear of success that keeps her from moving on and taking that chance. And as an entrepreneur, you have to take the chance, but you have to not let the fear dictate what you're going to do in your business life. And you need to build a tribe, because that tribe is what's going to get you through the tough times, the times when you don't know which way to go, the times when you're just in the weeds because there's so much going on and you're overwhelmed. That's the network that you need to build, to make sure that you work hard on that too.
I agree completely. I just say be bold, say yes, do whatever it is, say yes to whatever opportunity comes your way, and then figure out how to do it, because you'll be able to figure it out. That's what entrepreneurship is all about. If you wait until you know all the variables, you'll be waiting a very long time.
Anyone else? Any final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, when I first started, everybody told me it would be a lot easier if you went to a firm, got experience. There's so many naysayers and non-believers out there, and you really need to shut them off. And you just need to do what you feel is right, what you feel is best. Be liquid, be adaptable. That's the best thing that you can do, because it's not going to be everything that you plan. There's going to be curveballs thrown at you. You're going to have hard days, no matter how long you've been in business. You're going to have times where you question if it's the right thing you should be doing. Just push through those days, because tomorrow is a new day, and you'll figure out that you are where you're supposed to be.
Thank you, everybody. I just want to say one more time, I just want to thank all the panelists that took their time today to actually give us 1 hour of their busy time to share their successful tips and business experiences. As for everyone online, thank you as well for joining, and make sure you tune in on our next VetNet webinar on November 15 on a LinkedIn learning process. So if no one has any more questions or any thoughts to share, we'll end this session. Any questions on YouTube, Ashley? So we have Simonia. She says, I'm in the process of vetting lawyers with the franchise expertise. I'm not really able to evaluate advice. Last one.
For me, my advice is you can look on avpo.com. You can also do a Google search for business lawyers within your state. Out-of-state attorneys can't give you advice unless they're barred in your state. And then look for the ones that offer a free consultation and take advantage of it, and find one that best fits for you, and go from there.
Thank you, Nicole, and thank you, everybody, and we'll see you next time.